next presenter is George Stelling from Quadrillion Partners. Once again, thank you for being here, George, and I'll just hand things right over to you.
Well, you're welcome, Brendan, and thank you and the Quantrix team for the invite to allow me to speak. I really appreciate it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time talking about who Quadrillion is, kind of what we're doing with Quantrix, including a few examples from some models, as well as to talk a little bit about background in terms of our industry. So let me start first with, hold on a second, it just froze. With kind of the agenda here. So I'll talk about what we do, talk a little bit about what I call the transformation trap, and some view of failures in business and digital transformation. And then I'll talk about Quantrix and kind of how we feel it's been really a game changer for us. Just to give you some background, we're pretty new with Quantrix. We've been in and around Quantrix, I'd say the better part of a year, but we have spent a fair amount of time building out a number of templates and starting to deploy the platform at various clients. And then I'll talk a little bit about what Lunation is, which is our new branded platform that includes an embedded element of Quantrix. I know Brad had talked about the concept of model-driven applications yesterday. I think Quantrix and how we've embedded it in Lunation is a pretty good example of that. So just quickly on Quadrillion and who I am. So I'm the co-founder and senior partner at Quadrillion. Quadrillion's been around since 2012. My work prior to Quadrillion included a stint at NVIDIA, where I was their chief information officer. And on the leadership team there, I was also a leader at Bain & Company, for those of you that know Bain, in the US and also in South Africa and London. And have also done a lot of work in semiconductors with firms like On Semiconductor. I also started a lower middle market private equity fund just prior to the financial crisis in 2008. So I'm very familiar with private equity. You'll see a theme here around a number of Quadrillion's clients being private equity sponsors and portfolio companies. If you look at Quadrillion as a company, we do a lot of work in business and digital transformation, and I'll talk about exactly what that is in a minute. And we've done a lot of work also in other areas of corporate effectiveness, everything from sales and marketing effectiveness. We've done a lot of work in lean and manufacturing, as well as organizational design, and even done some interim management work over the years. If you look at how we measure our success as a company, we do track the EBITDA or profitability improvement at each of our clients. So this is a graph that just kind of shows you that view going back to 2012. Right now we're right around $365 million of EBITDA improvement through year to date 2023, something we're very proud of. We tend to get engaged by C-level executives, sometimes the board of directors of companies, sometimes private equity sponsors, to help drive specific initiatives in companies to improve effectiveness and overall profit delivery. And so let's talk a little bit about what I call the transformation trap. Question we get pretty often is, how do you guys define business and digital transformation? So I've thrown up a couple definitions here. Business transformation for us really is a formal process that companies go through when they want to change up their products and services, perhaps their channels of distribution. Maybe they want to improve an element of their functional processes or cross-functional processes, maybe add new capabilities, including people, and change up their organizational structure. Again, the underlying goals here tend to be around both top-line growth, as well as, in some cases, cost reduction, and also a healthy view of profit improvement. On the digital side, not surprisingly, as everybody on the call knows, companies have been increasingly adding more and more software and more digital capabilities, whether it's most recently AI. Prior to that, it may have been IoT type devices, et cetera. We've got really good capability internally to work with clients to both define the benefits and costs of those technologies, as well as to deploy those technologies successfully with clients. And for us, the digital transformation piece is all about deploying those new digital technologies to help drive organizational effectiveness, to help engage with customers a bit differently. Those can be internal as well as external customers, as well as try to grow profits. So that's how we think about business and digital transformation. If you look at the transformation challenge, I'll throw out some data here. Transformation program success rates in companies tend to be, frankly, pretty abysmal. Most transformation programs fail to achieve their overall objectives. In fact, the failure rates for business and digital transformation in most companies with revenues above 200 million US a year are somewhere in the neighborhood of 70%. So, and those failures can be pretty material in terms of their impacts, both on the company and people that are involved in those efforts. You have a loss of competitive advantage. You can have tarnished customer experiences. You can have damage to brand reputations. You can have, low morale and also an element of derailed careers from people who work on these programs. One of the most important quantitative metrics of these failures is really what I call wasted investment. And if you look just at the digital transformation piece for 2023, it's estimated that about $1.5 trillion globally will be wasted in terms of digital transformations that fail to achieve their overall objectives. And that's a pretty big number, and it's a number that we've validated through a variety of different sources. If you look last year, the numbers are statistically not that different. We have a point of view that we have a set of processes and capabilities that we've been deploying at clients since 2012 that really improve the overall success rate of both business and digital transformation and really dramatically reduce that waste statistic. So if you look at our success rates, industry is somewhere around 30%. Ours is probably closer to 98%. Our conclusions against that, frankly, are that we think we've got a bit of a better mousetrap, a bit of a better process here. We think our process is a lot more rigorous than what a lot of companies undertake when they initiate a transformation program. One of the questions that we ask ourselves constantly is how can we improve our delivery process and do more? And about 18 months ago, we started to embark on that question, and we looked very carefully at a number of different platforms and really decided at that time to build out our Lunation capability, which I'll talk about in a minute, and also to partner with Quantrix to improve our overall global modeling efforts. And really for us, that was a focus around speed of delivery. It was also around reducing some element of maintenance efforts around our modeling. We had a lot of instances where, frankly, we got Excel to work, but it was really through a set of brute force tactics, we felt that Quantrix, frankly, could be a much better capability for us as a company. So if I just recap, and I think I'll be preaching to the choir a little bit here, some of the pain points on Excel that we've seen, and we consider ourselves real experts in Excel. I mean, we've done a lot of really advanced modeling in Excel. We've done a lot of advanced modeling in other tools as well, factory simulation tools, process modeling tools, et cetera. We found Excel to be helpful in a lot of situations, but frankly, if you look at our transformation practice, we tend to work with clients who are global. We tend to work with situations where we have to have multiple iterations of models going on, and we have to have a good ability to change up models and to track actuals against goals and things of that sort. And what we found, frankly, over time was that just Excel wasn't the best platform for us to do this. Excel, as many of you know, is single-threaded. We had an element of what I like to say is Excel version madness at different clients where we had multiple spreadsheets going through email, going through OneDrive, savings, through Dropbox, you name it. So controlling kind of the single model of record was a challenge. There's obviously no cube capability in Excel. We had lots of instances where, with best intentions, people might go into a model, but they might break a formula, and that would cause lots of issues both within the model and any other sheets that were linked to it. We found that our models also, over time, as we expanded the size of the models, became quite slow. And Excel, as many of you know, also doesn't provide for any real global collaboration capability. There is an embedded capability now in Teams that technically allows people to show Excel models and so forth, but that is cumbersome and slow. And then we also found, not surprisingly, that leveraging Excel, a lot of our data was stale very quickly, and keeping that data maintained at a client level required a lot of maintenance and, frankly, a lot of human intervention on our part. So our goal here was to try to solve a number of these problems. So if you look at our transformation solution, I'll talk a little bit about what Lunation is. So, we consider Lunation kind of an end-to-end SaaS platform that we built at Quadrillion. Again, we're going to be using this platform for our clients. We also have an expectation that we may rent out, and we probably will rent out the platform to other companies that are interested in launching their own transformation program, because we feel that the overall platform here is very powerful. If you look at this middle tier here, basically what the platform allows you to do is you can basically author an idea. So the concept here is any employee can author an idea. That idea would then get promoted to the company. People could comment on the idea. We have AI capability embedded in the tool as well, where you can engage with a large language model to improve your idea. That idea would then get scored and ranked by the management team of the company. And then if the idea has merit, it would then get converted into a formal transformation initiative in the company and then planned accordingly. We have a whole process and what I like to say, a set of artifacts that get built in the planning phase. We develop something that we call a transformation artifact plan, which has a strategy document associated with it, a business case, a risk model. It has a milestone plan associated with it, a leadership plan, and an incentive plan for each of the initiatives that are defined. And what we've done is to build out a set of Quantrix capabilities around that transformation artifact plan that allows companies and allows us to deploy Quantrix templates in the cloud and to allow users to populate those templates. And we work with them to do that. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Lunation also as a platform allows for approval and governance of transformation artifact plans. So as many of you know, I'll use an example. Let's say you're opening up a new call center and that call center costs 10 million US CapEx to get it stood up over a certain period of time, and you have a view of what the benefits might be against that call center. That type of investment often requires board of directors approval, just given delegation of authority rules in companies. Lunation allows for boards of directors to see Quantrix models. It also allows them to approve all these artifacts so that we can get formal approval and it tracks everything. The other element of Lunation that we're excited about is this concept of initiative monitoring and implementation. So here what we've done is to deploy a set of Quantrix models as well that give you the ability to track actual performance against goals and to do what I characterize as a bunch of RAG, red, yellow, green, metrics against variances, goals against actuals. And then Lunation also allows you to kind of complete the various initiatives and kind of manage your overall initiative portfolio. So again, we're really excited about Lunation and the capabilities. Think of this as, as Brad mentioned, we've created kind of a model-driven application here. I'll talk a little bit more about how Lunation is organized on the next page. So if you look at this is a partial architecture. So the concept here is we have a set of modelers in any company and also within Quadrillion and Lunation that can author Quantrix models. We have a portfolio of models that we've also built out, somewhere close to about 20 models today. I would characterize those models as us taking our historical Excel models and doing what I call a lift, shift, and upgrade of those models so that they're now in Quantrix and they're all interconnected and available as templates. And then generally what happens here is we are pushing our data out of Quantrix into Snowflake. So Snowflake is basically our back-end data warehouse, kind of book of record, if you will, for each client's transformation program. And then we have a set of Tableau dashboards that are driven off of Snowflake that the different people in the company can see in terms of both each of the initiatives that have been created, what the overall program summary might look like in terms of its profitability goals, progress to those goals, things of that sort. So this gives you a sense of some of the architecture here that we've created within Lunation. Let me turn a little bit now to a couple of the examples that I pulled just out of models. So this is a summary output of a business case that we've built here. You'll see that there's a button there that says previous. So if you think about the way this works within Quantrix, we've created a set of buttons where a particular person can come in, via canvases in the cloud in Quantrix, populate some data, in some cases modify specific assumptions. In other cases, we may have assumptions in the background, which I'll talk about in a minute, and literally go through and kind of build out a business case. Now that business case build within Lunation is done within Quantrix, but the actual approval process for that business case is actually done within Lunation software, which is a kind of an integrated set of screens above and beyond Quantrix. But this is an important output for us. If I had to give you just a couple numbers, I'd say since 2016, we've probably built over 250 business cases with our clients on various initiatives. And I can tell you, as I'll talk in a minute, the time savings here using Quantrix has been enormous with these templates. We've also embedded a number of assumptions. It's not unusual for us. I know some of the other folks, Angus, Franz, Luca, et cetera, talked about, and Aaron talked about the importance of assumptions. We've built a kind of a key set of assumptions that we know most of our clients, need to identify in their modeling. So foreign exchange rates is a big one because a lot of our clients have meaningful international operations, and they're capturing both labor costs and non-labor costs. So we have to have good Forex forecasting, as well as, and this is topical, a good view of what inflation rates might look like, both in total and by country. We also bake in things like merit increases for employees and things of that sort. So the underlying matrices here around assumptions within each of the models are very robust. We're able to update those very quickly. One of the other elements that we also have baked in here is what we call TAM and SAM models, so total available market and serviceable available market. So these are market size statistics and how the companies shape up against those. So again, think of it as if you're a transformation client and let's say you're getting into a new market segment, we would build out a business case associated with that using TAM and SAM data. This is where we may bring in external data from different third-party sources. We may work directly with the client to develop this information. But the overall point is the business case, and the next and previous buttons here allow you to capture that information and look at how your market share changes over time as you're rolling out these new services. I know Aaron mentioned the concept of Monte Carlo simulation. We've had a lot of experience using Monte Carlo in Excel. We've done work. Many of you may know that Oracle had acquired a company a few years ago that did Monte Carlo simulation and called Crystal Ball. And we've done a lot of work with Crystal Ball in the past. We've also done a lot of work with another company called At Risk. Both of those are add-ins to Excel. We basically built a Monte Carlo capability within our first few Quantrix models that relate to market share. So we have the ability within the model today that you see the canvas here to run iterations and to create that simulation. We have a limited number of probability distributions in the background. We have a couple normal distributions, a couple triangular distributions that we're using to do this. But this is a capability that we use in almost every single client to do simulation analysis and kind of what if analysis. So we felt that it was important to have it in the tool here, and it's been very well received. We are building out additional capabilities here around different models. As I mentioned, the platform and the way we've organized Quantrix is very much around goal setting as well as capturing actuals out of the financial systems of different clients and to track those around success rates. We're in the process of building what I characterize as an annual operating plan template as well for customers, and we'll be looking at tracking budgets and things of that. And then we do have the ability within the tool right now where we've created a multi-year strategic model. So think of it as a 5 or 7 or 9 or 10. Pick your frequency, because the way we've organized it, you can set that frequency in Quantrix to create these models. So far, very good success with what we're doing. As I said, we feel that it's been a real game changer for us as a platform. Some of the breakthroughs here, just quickly on 21. For us, this allows us to do collaborative input. That's important because it's not unusual for us to have people in different countries providing inputs into the models, and the Canvas capability within Quantrix is really helpful. It's been great in terms of version control. We've been able to do and leverage the multi-dimensional cube capability, which is terrific. We really like the natural language formulas. We like the fact that we can do more real-time scenarios and spend more time on what I call the intelligent part of modeling versus the mundane, making sure that the Excel sheets are linking together and not breaking. We've reduced errors, and we have some real-time data loads that we pull in from ERP systems, Salesforce, et cetera. If you look at some early statistics on successes, and this will be my last slide, we track the time it takes us to stand up business cases. That time is going down. So based on our 2 clients that we've now deployed the Quantrix backend at, you see that there's a pretty meaningful shrink in the business case stand up. And then in terms of doing roll-ups of multiple spreadsheets to come up with consolidated numbers, we've really been able to impact that as well with Quantrix and have the ability to do that roll-up. And again, we're doing the roll-up within Quantrix and then pushing a lot of that data back out to Snowflake. So that concludes my presentation. Any questions, comments?
Awesome. Thank you so much, George. Another great presentation. Let's see here. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what the process is like for becoming a customer?
Yeah, so let me throw up a quick slide here. So we've created this program called Impact on Lunation, where we're targeting to get, I'd say, call it 5 to 7, customers who may be interested in doing some transformation work and also leveraging Lunation, kind of engaged really in the first half of 2024. We do have 1 customer signed up already, which we're excited about, and we're going to continue to kind of roll this out. So if folks are interested, my email address is here, and make sure that folks get copies of the presentation to look at it. But happy to talk about it. Again, we're really excited. It's for us, this capability is really saving. It's a big time saver, and it reduces errors through the process. Not that we had a ton of errors previously, but we found that we had to manually fix all that stuff. So now it's freeing up time on our side. The reception from our clients who've used it has been really positive. So we're excited to add more people to the program.
Great. Can you talk a little bit maybe about how you used Qloud? Are you using templates on Qloud or multi-user editing on Qloud?
Largely templates. So the way we've organized this is, again, as we built out the models, we built them out with a high degree of mindfulness, meaning that if we had a particular model that we had built previously, we would migrate it to a Quantrix template, but we'd also try to generalize it so that we could use it at multiple potential future clients too. Because we've been doing this long enough that we've got a very good sense of what types of ebbs and flows and different type of assumptions and capabilities that clients have asked us for. So we've been able to really leverage that template capability within Quantrix Qloud. The other thing we do spend some time on, which is not automated, is the permissioning of specific models for people within each client, and also any data sets or data that they can or cannot see. Because obviously some of the profitability information, some of the labor cost information that we capture in these models, we don't want that for wide dispersion within folks who can see the model at different companies. So we do spend time on the back end of Quantrix within the cloud saying what people can see what data. That's a manual process today, and I think it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. But it's an important one in terms of protecting confidentiality just making sure that folks can only see the data that we think they should.
And how many cloud users do you have?
Yeah, so right now we have probably about a dozen, and that's spread across 2 clients that we've worked on. Our goal for next year is probably to have, I'd say, north of 70. Typical transformation project for us, just to give you a kind of a box around it, is it's usually anywhere between a 12 to 18-month project. Usually involves somewhere between 50 and 75 people globally. Now, not all 50 to 75 people would necessarily need to be modelers in Quantrix, right? There's a smaller subset, call it maybe a dozen, that would be analysts, that would be maybe standing up models using some of our templates, et cetera. But most of that, population would require access to the various canvases. What we've done is to actually embed some of the URLs to those canvases into Lunation, so that if a user is in Lunation and they click on it, they would actually automatically go to the canvas to see the overall outputs. And then they obviously have access to a set of Tableau dashboards on the back end to see metrics and to track KPIs and things of that sort.
Great. Is there, let's see here, we have another one from Gilbert. Is the management audience understanding the Monte Carlo simulation results?
Good question. My experience on this is if you just kind of show them the results without some type of discussion, you get a lot more questions, right? So our goal on having the Monte Carlo simulation is, and that model is to do some handholding with clients on that capability. It's clearly not for everyone, and I don't want to pitch it as you need to do Monte Carlo on everything you do, because you don't, right? So we're kind of selective, and I think we will continue to be selective on that particular modeling template, because I think it's only relevant in certain situations. We've built this around market growth rate simulations, and I think one of the earlier presenters had mentioned this too, is that understanding market growth rates is part art, part science. So having the ability to look at a Monte Carlo that gives you kind of highs and lows of different market growth rates and what that could look like can be very helpful. But that being said, I've seen people get lost in Monte Carlo as well. So the short answer is we're going to be careful in terms of how we deploy that. It's not for everyone, but I think we have the right use case defined right now in it.
Great. Do you use one QE server for all of the clients, or do you run separate?
Great question. So we have right now one QE server running. Lunation itself is a multi-tenant architecture. So we have multiple, clients running on Lunation that can run on Lunation as well. We do have the option, and I've talked to Tom Ahern about this as well, is we will have some clients, if you look at where Quadrillion, we do a lot of work in manufacturing companies, a lot in technology, a fair amount in financial services, a lot in consumer, and we've done quite a bit in green energy as well, actually, lately. There's certain types of clients that will ask us, I know for a fact, to have more of a dedicated instance, and we will definitely accommodate their requests to have, more of a single dimension Lunation capability, as well as a standalone, kind of dedicated, Quantrix server for them. My experience is most of those clients tend to be in the finance space, right? So financial services, whether we've done work in credit cards, a lot of our, we've done work also for banks and people like that. So they tend to like the more dedicated channels, and we're happy to accommodate that. We would definitely, probably do some pass-through costing on that as well.
Great. Well, it looks like we covered pretty much all the questions. There might be some others coming into the chat, and we'll do our best to get answers to those. But once again, thank you, George. Another awesome presentation. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we signed off?
No, I think I'm good. I appreciate the time and I appreciate all the presentations today. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.